Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 10 of Royally Rumbled.
It's a big one, man. I'm super excited about it, and I can't wait to get into everything that we have to discuss tonight. My name is Robert.
And my name is Jordan. We are discussing the show of shows, the showcase of the immortals, the granddaddy of them all, WrestleMania 34.
But before we get to that, we have to first discuss the results of a poll that we had put up on Twitter, and then NXT TakeOver New Orleans. So strap in, because it's going to be a long one, but it's going to be worth it.
There's a lot to dissect here, and we're ready. We're ready for WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania week. We're closing in.
Super excited.
So let's talk about that poll. It's our March to Mania poll.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the month, we decided to start putting up some Twitter polls to try to determine the greatest WrestleMania of all time. We picked 4 WrestleManias from every era, and we threw them up and had them up for 5 days, and you guys voted on them for us. Who won the poll, Jordan?
With an overwhelming 52% of the entire poll, WrestleMania 30 came out on top.
Yeselmania.
Running wild, brother.
Yeah, I definitely have to at least agree with how the results turned out. Everybody clearly enjoyed WrestleMania 30. It beat out some really great WrestleManias, like WrestleMania 10, WrestleMania 18. It beat WrestleMania 25, but also out of the modern era, it defeated WrestleMania 31. So it definitely stood its ground, and everybody really loves Daniel Bryan, man.
Yeah. I can't wait to talk about Daniel Bryan's match later.
Ooh, a bit of foreshadowing.
But before we talk about Yeselmania, let's dive into NXT TakeOver New Orleans, which happens this Saturday on the WWE Network.
Yeah, the storytelling has just been so good on NXT the past few months. So, leading into essentially their WrestleMania, I'm really, really excited to see where this goes,
Yeah, and we have to say, TakeOver New Orleans looks like it's probably the best TakeOver card ever.
Yeah, so far, yeah. They packed it top to bottom with everybody that you'd want to see and nobody that you don't. So, that being said, the very first match is the triple threat tag match for the NXT Tag Team Championship, and also the Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic trophy is on the line as well, as the Undisputed Era defend against the Authors of Pain and Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne, the United Kingdom champion. They're kind of a thrown together team.
Definitely. But what happened was Roderick Strong was allowed to select his partner for the tournament, and he chose the guy that he faced the week before for the UK Championship. So he chose Pete Dunne, and they had immediate chemistry in the ring, and that match was really good. They had a really good match with those guys. They tore it down.
Yeah, they're a very interesting pairing. They have a very good mesh of styles. However, I feel like they're not going to win this, considering they're still a fresh team. I'd like to see them team a little bit more before becoming NXT Tag Team Champions. That's just my personal opinion.
No, and I definitely agree with that, for sure.
Looking on the other hand, let's talk about Bobby Fish going down with his torn ACL.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for him, and it's forcing Adam Cole to have to pull double duty at TakeOver, which is a tall order.
Especially with the matches that that he's competing in and the people that he's competing against. He's in there with the Authors of Pain, Roderick Strong, and Pete Dunne, and Roderick Strong focuses a lot of his stuff on the back. He does a lot of backbreakers and submissions, and Pete Dunne does a lot of submissions as well, but then he's also in there with Akam and Rezar a pair of bruisers.
Yeah, they are monstrously strong, and they are capable of full blown beatdowns. So Adam Cole really has to try to work on some self preservation if he wants to continue forward into the match that he is in after this.
Yeah, let's talk about Authors of Pain a little bit, because we've been saying, at least I've been saying for a while, that they should be up on the main roster by this point. I've been saying it since, I think, Survivor Series.
Yeah, and they've been super impressive. I was kind of out on them at first, but they've turned it around for me, and I definitely believe in them as a team, and I think they've done all they really can in NXT. So I'm really hoping that they get called up either the Raw after WrestleMania or the SmackDown after WrestleMania, because it'd be great to see them on SmackDown as well. They put together some great matches, and they do something that isn't really done much across WWE anymore, and it's selling like an injury throughout a match. So one of them will take some sort of damage and will carry it forward throughout, and the overall of WWE doesn't do it much anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if that's Paul Ellering's doing, or if it's just them training and really paying attention to old school tag team wrestling.
Definitely. But I'm gonna hold tight on my prediction from a few episodes ago and say that Undisputed Era holds and retains their titles in New Orleans.
I agree. It only makes sense to me that the Undisputed Era lead NXT as the tag team for a little while longer. But on the opposite side of the coin for that, I am fully expecting War Machine to debut officially within the next few weeks and stake their claim for the titles while filling in for the Authors of Pain, who are hopefully moving up to the main roster.
I can't wait for that. War Machine is going to be a wrecking crew in NXT. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
Next up, we have the ladder match for the inaugural NXT North American Championship, featuring the likes of Killian Dane versus Lars Sullivan versus Velveteen Dream versus Adam Cole versus a debuting EC3 and versus Ricochet.
Yeah, the first official mid-card title for NXT. Even though we've utilized the UK title and have that highlighted from time to time, the roster pool on NXT is so deep. So this helps give those guys a platform to help elevate themselves. And I think the North American Championship being defended in a 6-man ladder match is a great way to introduce the belt. Everyone that you just named in this match deserves to be involved, and they've all been so impressive in their respective roles throughout the last few months, and especially like guys like EC3 and Ricochet coming in, and people already know who they are. They believe the hype behind these guys.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that EC3 is going to have a really great showing. And his promo work getting into the match was phenomenal. The promo that he had in the ring with William Regal, where he was trying to act like William Regal was just going to award him the title, was not only funny, but he did a bit of crowd work leading into it, and he just wove in the crowd chanting anything at him and was able to turn it around. And honestly, I feel like given, I don't know, maybe a year from now, maybe episode whatever we'll be at next WrestleMania, we'll be talking about how EC3 cuts the greatest promos in WWE.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's been gone from WWE for over 5 years, and this time coming back, he's an entirely different person from when he left. He was one of TNA's shining stars. That's really where he found himself. The difference between now and when he left was now he knows who he is. So I'm really excited to see what he brings to the table. He's great on the mic. He's got a great look. He knows his character. I'm all excited for EC3.
Speaking of being excited, Lars Sullivan, the Freak. He is on an absolute warpath right now since returning. And he and Killian Dane are going to absolutely murder one another. And it's going to be glorious.
Yeah, having both of those guys in this match certainly ups the ante. There's a lot of potential for the powerhouse guys to have some sweet spots in this match. And I actually heard someone suggested Lars Sullivan is the baby that Gene Snitsky punted into the crowd back in 2004. He looks pretty good. He looks pretty good for 14 years old, you know?
Yeah. Not only 14, but I mean, maybe that's the lump on his head that Snitsky put there. That makes a lot of sense. That would be really funny if they went with that.
I mean, he's got a bunch of, like power behind him, and the presence of ladders is only going to amplify that. They've done a really good job establishing him and Killian Dane as main players in NXT. I'm excited to see what they bring to this match.
I'm excited to see what Velveteen Dream brings to this match. I'm not really sure what to expect with him, but that's always what he brings to the table anyway. He is my wild card for this match because I don't know what he's going to do, but I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, he's literally coming off one of the most successful rookie years in recent memory. Having his classic career-defining match against Alistair Black at NXT TakeOver War Games, as well as defeating Cassius Ohno in Philadelphia. This guy has the it factor, and his TakeOver entrance should be awesome.
Oh man, I'm excited.
I'm a really big fan of his, and I could easily see him snare his first NXT championship here in New Orleans. But I totally agree with you 100% by saying he's a wild card.
And speaking of what they bring to the table, Ricochet is going to be the guy everyone talks about after this match. He's going to be the takeaway. He's going to be the one that everybody goes, did you see that guy? His athletic ability is completely unparalleled in WWE. He if you don't already know who he is, or you aren't already a fan of Ricochet from his time as Prince Puma in Lucha Underground, you will be.
Yeah, just basically prepare to be wowed. This is the perfect match for him to debut in. He was the first ever Lucha Underground champion, and he's been collecting championships all over the world for the last few years. He is a star, and his 630 is a thing of beauty, and I can't gush enough about him. He's going to be a force in NXT to help launch them to the next level.
Totally agree. 100% agree.
Which brings us to our final participant, Adam Cole.
Baby.
As always, he's going to put in work and help put together a show stealer. His Extreme Rules match against Alistair Black from NXT TakeOver Philadelphia was a classic and easily one of the greatest NXT matches that occurred on a TakeOver.
I definitely agree. And I think that in this match, he's going to steal a win. And I think that he will carry the North American Championship match as the inaugural winner of it.
See, all that being said, I'm torn between Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, and EC3. And I love ladder matches. It's my absolute favorite match type. This match is going to make every last one of those guys look like a legitimate superstar.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And that's the thing about the six guys that are in this, is that I could see any of them winning, and you could make a case for any of them winning it. Going back to what you said earlier, how they all deserve to be here. I just think that given that Adam Cole has already been in a match, he's going to take a really big spot at the beginning and maybe not do much else until the end.
I could totally see that happening. But yeah, I'm torn between Dream, EC3, and Ricochet. If I had to pick one, it would probably be Ricochet.
I 100% am all for Ricochet winning this in his first match in NXT.
Anyway, I love it. I'm excited. this could be match of the night. But then again, every other match on this card has the potential to be match of the night. You never know with NXT.
That's the wonderful thing about it.
All right, let's ring the bell and move on. Next up, we have the NXT Women's Championship match as Ember Moon defends her NXT Women's Championship against the Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler.
Their last match was good, and I really liked how they paced it and how Ember Moon barely escaped. But what I don't want here is a repeat of that match.
Yeah, like you said, it's their second match, and the last time they faced off, Baszler brutalized Moon's arm to the point where it seemed like the match would be stopped until Moon craftily turned the tables and stunned Baszler with a sudden roll-up to retain her championship. Baszler viciously handed a post-match beatdown to Moon, which added fuel to the fire that is Baszler's brutality. I went on record and I said Baszler would win. So that being said, I think that she's going to win here.
Yeah, I could definitely see it happening. I have fallen off of the Ember Moon bandwagon. I don't understand her character. I don't know where she's going. She's like lost in the woods to me. She disappears for episodes at a time in NXT, and then she shows up to make a save. And then she's in the back, and her and Baszler get into a fist fight in the like training room, which was a really cool way that they produced that segment. But I honestly don't know how this will go because I feel like it's going to turn into their first match. But when I'm in doubt, I always go with the champ, so I say Ember Moon retains.
See, I'm waiting for that Eclipse reversal into Baszler's finisher, the rear naked choke or whatever.
Baszler's only taken the Eclipse once or twice.
Yeah.
So I don't know that, I mean, all things being equal, I don't know that she's taken it enough to work out a good reversal. You know what I mean? Like if I'm to believe that she came up with a reversal for it, I have to assume that she took it to end a match one time, you know? So that she's not embarrassed the next time, like she did her homework or whatever. But that's not been the case so far. So whenever I'm in doubt and it's a championship match, I go with the champ. So I'm going to go with Ember Moon.
I just see Ember Moon chasing the belt a bit more. But we also have to wonder if she might be called up after WrestleMania. That's the tricky thing about these NXTs right before, WrestleMania, because you're waiting for the debuts on the main roster.
I'll put it out there and say I don't think she's ready.
Yeah, I kind of personally hope that she stays in NXT until maybe after SummerSlam, because the NXT women's roster still feels a bit thin to me.
I agree with that.
So you got Ember Moon, I got Shayna Baszler.
Next up, we have a unsanctioned match between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Oh boy. The build for this has already been masterful. Ciampa came out every week for 3 or 4 weeks, trying and attempting to cut a promo in the ring, and the crowd mercilessly booed him to the point where he couldn't say anything. And then he got frustrated and he would rip up crowd signs and shout, "He's gone," and "I'm here," and things like that. Until one time, the final week that he did this, he grabbed a crowd sign and ripped it in half, and who was behind the crowd sign but Johnny Gargano? And then Johnny attacked him. The crowd went absolutely ballistic when this happened, and it caught me legitimately by surprise, because I had watched a few episodes week after week where he was doing the same thing. He was ripping up the crowd signs, he was yelling at people, he wasn't saying anything in the ring, and suddenly Johnny was there. And I guess it's kind of predictable when you go back and look at it, but it completely caught me off guard, and I popped really hard for it.
After nearly a year of anticipation, this is probably the greatest NXT rivalry to utilize long-form storytelling successfully.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but I also would argue this is already not only the NXT feud of the year, but across all of WWE itself.
Hell yeah. Gargano is my guy, and it'd be interesting to see how this match is going to play out. Given the unique unsanctioned circumstances, there's no telling how far Gargano and Ciampa will go to settle the score.
And the stipulation is that if Johnny wins, he's reinstated to NXT, but if he loses, he's gone for good.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I see Johnny winning and them having one or two more matches.
See, I went back and forth on this. In my opinion, if I were booking this match, I feel like I could see Johnny Wrestling winning this match. However, I could also see Ciampa picking up the win here and banishing Johnny Gargano from NXT, leading to his debut on 205 Live on Tuesday night. This feud will certainly continue on the main roster. They've dragged it out for so long already. In my opinion, it's not going to be over after one match. So let Ciampa get over here, then get Johnny Wrestling on 205 Live, then build him as the guy on that show, and let Ciampa debut after SummerSlam and cost him the Cruiserweight title. There's so much history between these two guys. I'm so excited, and it's going to be great to see exactly what they do with these two going forward.
Yeah, I think it would be really interesting if they bring Johnny up and then have Ciampa cost him the title at a later date. That would be really unexpected and really interesting. But I don't know what you would do with Ciampa in the meantime. That's why I feel like they just have to stay on top of one another till it's over, you know? And I don't want it to be over yet because it's good.
That's why I'm saying let Ciampa go on a run for the NXT Championship. Give him the title.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against that at all. He's really interesting as a performer, so I could see that happening.
Hell, they have the NXT North American Championship now. Give him that.
Ciampa versus Ricochet.
Yeah, dude.
Oh.
Anyone versus Ricochet.
We're Ricochet marks if you don't catch our drift here. All right, ring the bell.
And finally, the main event of NXT TakeOver New Orleans for the NXT Championship. Alistair Black challenges Andrade Cien Almas with Zelina Vega for the championship.
This feud is great. And we've talked about it over and over again, but Cien as a heel has been completely awesome. His beatdown of Black a few weeks ago on NXT was great. And I want to just highlight something that he did that I don't know that I've seen anybody else ever do in a backstage beatdown, but he was fighting him, he ripped his shirt or whatever, and he brought him over to a cooler and like held his head underwater in a cooler, and then pulled him out, and Alistair Black was on the ground gasping for air. And I was like, he actually just tried to drown that guy. And that's one of the most badass things I've ever seen in WWE. Has that ever been done? I don't think that's ever been done before.
Not to my knowledge.
So it just, the lengths that Cien is willing to go to put Alistair Black down, because he was beating him down because he felt like he was disrespectful to Zelina Vega the week prior at the contract signing. So all of those things started to stack on top of one another, and Cien snapped.
Yeah, he could be counted on, like, to have a game plan in place once the bell rings, and especially with the help of his tough-minded business manager, Zelina Vega. Almas has maintained a sturdy grip on the NXT title. Now, something that I found was really interesting, Alistair Black made his NXT debut at last year's WrestleMania week against Cien Almas.
Interesting.
And Black has only been pinned once by Johnny Gargano during a wild fatal four-way match back in December. So the Dutch Destroyer created an aura of near invincibility after having incredible matches with the likes of Velveteen Dream, Hideo Itami, and Adam Cole.
Yeah, and they have such differing in-ring styles that I'm really excited to see how they create this match that I have a feeling will be unforgettable by the end of it.
Hell yeah.
And I also just want to say that I believe Alistair Black deserves to have a spooky New Orleans themed entrance for this. And I'll be really disappointed if he doesn't.
Hell yeah. He should totally have like a voodoo-esque entrance similar to Bray Wyatt's swamp entrance from WrestleMania 30.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely want to see him get a WrestleMania worthy entrance at this, and then I believe that he's taking home the title.
Yeah, Almas has a ton of momentum coming off the last few months, so it'll be interesting to see how they utilize his momentum. Honestly, I think it's time that he comes to the main roster and drops the belt to Alistair Black. And like we said in previous episodes, seeing Alistair Black finally crowned NXT champion as the guy.
He is the main attraction right now for them. So it only makes sense that he gets that title and he gets to carry it and then takes on anybody like a Ciampa or anyone else that you want to throw his way. I think he definitely deserves it. All of his matches are good, even when they're not, marquee matchups. He could hit that black mass out of nowhere, and it's the coolest thing in the world. So I have him winning, and I hope that he gets to carry it for a long time.
Yeah, dude, his kicks are deadly, and I'm very excited to see the fallout from this show. Other interesting notes, they announced that there's going to be NXT WrestleMania Access Championship Invitationals. Did you hear about that?
I did. Go on.
Yeah, so they're going to take place Thursday through Saturday, and the winners of these tournaments will challenge for the respective titles on Sunday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So the morning of WrestleMania, the champions who win on Saturday night will go on to defend those titles the next morning. So we got the NXT Tag Team Championship Invitational, the NXT Women's Championship Invitational, the United Kingdom Championship Invitational, and the NXT North American Championship Invitational.
That's wild. I didn't know it was that deep.
Yeah. Now, the United Kingdom Championship Invitational, I'm gonna list a couple of the guys that are going to be involved in that, where the winner will challenge Pete Dunne on Sunday morning. So we got Lio Rush, Buddy Murphy, Lince Dorado, Drew Gulak, Mark Andrews. There's a couple other guys in there, but those are like the meat of what's going on here. So there's some real key players in these tournaments. It's not just random performance center people.
Very interesting.
Just like with the North American Championship Invitational, we got Hideo Itami, Arya Davari, Akira Tozawa, guys like that. The Women's Invitational, we got Nikki Cross, Dakota Kai, Lacey Evans, Kairi Sane, Peyton Royce, Candice LeRae. Tag teams, we got the Street Profits, Sanity, TM61, Oni Lorcan, and Danny Burch. There's some real key players that could potentially become champions Sunday morning before WrestleMania.
Is this going to be on the network or no?
No, I believe it's just Access.
Wow.
You buy a ticket to Access, you get to see these tournaments.
That's really cool.
Yeah. They're definitely stepping up their game WrestleMania weekend. They're always making it bigger.
There's a lot of wrestling in the WrestleMania City WrestleMania weekend. So it's cool that they're trying to entice you to only view their content.
Yeah, and I didn't even think about that, but that's a really good point.
They're trying to keep all eyes on WWE product, which is interesting.
I mean, hey, you've got to. With the sheer amount of different indie shows going on.
Yeah. All right. That's NXT TakeOver New Orleans to the main show of the weekend.
Let's do it.
WrestleMania 34, emanating live from the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. On the pre-show, we've got 3 matches. The Andre the Giant Battle Royal, the Women's Battle Royal, and the Cruiserweight Championship match. So we'll start with the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Confirmed for being in the Battle Royal, we have the Revival, Baron Corbin, Mojo Rawley, last year's winner, Ty Dillinger, Matt Hardy, Dolph Ziggler, Tyler Breeze and Fandango, Goldust, Heath Slater and Rhino, Zack Ryder, and Primo Cologne.
Yeah, up until this past week on SmackDown, I was unaware that Primo was even still under contract.
As was I.
I mean, you got to look at the past winners: Cesaro, Big Show, Baron Corbin, and Mojo Rawley. So really, it hasn't done much for their careers. This is clearly just a spot for guys to make it onto the card, which is cool.
Who do you have winning it? Of the guys that are announced, or maybe you have somebody else that you believe will win it?
I don't have anyone announced winning it because I don't think anyone that's been announced is winning it. I have that Bray Wyatt will probably appear in the match to continue his feud with Matt Hardy, but I don't think he is going to win it. I think, honestly, Big Cass will return and win the match. And it'll be a good moment for him to come back and restart his main roster career with a clean slate.
I have my nose turned up because I don't want that to happen at all. But I get where you're going with it. All of the guys that have won it previously kind of have a specific build, and it's bigger. So who bigger than Big Cass? I have Matt Hardy winning it.
Huh.
Because I want to hear him cut more promos about Andre the Giant and winning the Battle Royal. But I want to go back to something that you said. You believe Bray Wyatt's going to show up as Bray Wyatt in the match?
Some form of Bray Wyatt.
Because, as you know, he was thrown into the Lake of Reincarnation, so he can't possibly just be Bray Wyatt.
He could become something more.
I'm at least hoping that he changes his gimmick a little bit after being thrown into the Lake of Reincarnation.
Yeah, I know he's been wrestling on house shows with Matt Hardy, and they've been doing some weird spot. He's still Bray Wyatt. He's still normal gimmicked Bray Wyatt, but he'd stop at one point and hug Matt Hardy, and then he'd turn on Matt and try to attack him. So I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know what they're doing. It's not like they're teasing anything new with him, but yeah, I think at some point he's going to show up.
All right. Yeah, I have Matt Hardy winning it because I want more promos about, the eighth wonder of the world, or however he words it, because it's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think it'd be really cool if Matt Hardy won it and got the whole crowd at the very beginning of WrestleMania to chant delete.
Yeah. Jumping over from the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal over to the first ever WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. So we got women from Raw, SmackDown Live, and NXT. They're all eligible for the match. We'll probably get the Iconic Duo, even though I'd much prefer them to debut on the Raw or SmackDown after Mania. And we got some superstars that are announced, which are Sasha, Bayley, the Riot Squad, Absolution, Becky Lynch, and Carmella. So I'm thinking, with any luck, this is going to come down to just Bayley and Sasha, because they're really the only story that this match has.
No, yeah, I agree with that. But you also, Naomi, Natty, Lana, and Mickie James have also been confirmed for it as well.
Yeah, but they don't really have anything story-wise going on.
Oh no, but they've all been announced for it. So I mean, the men's battle royal doesn't have a story at all.
Yeah, it's just Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, really, that they could build off of. So that would be a good, interesting point to have Matt Hardy win. And with that said, I have Bayley winning.
Ooh. So obviously Sasha and Bayley are the story here. And a lot of people are mad, and I was initially aggravated that they don't have their own singles match at WrestleMania, but I believe they were added to this to elevate it. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that they were considered perhaps for a singles match, but thought they would be of more use to make the women's battle royal seem bigger and better. Beyond that, I'm interested to see Absolution versus Riot Squad and what the play is there.
Ooh.
I'd like to see whether or not they're going to fight one another, or if they agree that they're heel teams and they team up in a way. But piggybacking off of what you said, you have Bayley winning. I have Sasha winning.
Okay. This is interesting.
Sasha threw Bayley out of the Royal Rumble. Sasha, did she eliminate her in the Elimination Chamber as well?
Yeah, I think so.
So I think that Sasha gets the upper hand on Bayley, and that's going to be the story. And that's where you'll see Sasha to pick up the win in the Battle Royal and be the first ever.
Okay. I think it's really interesting that you brought up the Riot Squad and Absolution, because in the last episode, the Riot Squad and Absolution as one unit under one name, they could still do that. Have it be so that Paige is the ringleader and she's trying to take over Raw and SmackDown, and use this here. Use the Battle Royal, introduce a new story.
Yeah, and it would also make more sense that Paige is the ringleader, because Ruby Riott is seen as the leader of the Riot Squad, obviously, because it's named after her. But it would make sense that her and Paige work together because they both have that similar look,
Yeah.
the alt look with the tattoos and the dark hair and all that. So I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it would make sense from a story standpoint that they're friends and they decided to do this together. But that's really me just pushing my own agenda with this storyline. So
trying to make sense of the madness.
Yeah.
So you got Sasha, I got Bayley.
Yep. And that leads us to the vacant Cruiserweight Championship and the match that will take place for it, featuring Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali, who, I'm going to give you credit where credit is due here. You've been pushing Mustafa Ali for at least 4 or 5 episodes now, at least half of our life.
Yeah.
So, credit where credit is due. He's in the match. Do you have him winning it?
I do not, actually. I have Cedric Alexander. But there's let me get into it, okay?
Because here I am setting you up for this, and then you bury yourself.
We have a grueling 16-man WWE Cruiserweight tournament. Alexander defeated Grand Metalik, TJP, and Roderick Strong, while Ali defeated Jack Gallagher, Buddy Murphy, and Drew Gulak. Cedric Alexander was the number 1 contender before the title was vacated. Cedric and Ali faced off 1 week prior to the tournament starting, and Cedric walked away victorious from their first encounter. So yeah, all signs to me point to Cedric Alexander winning this. History is going to repeat itself where Cedric Alexander is going to win, probably like he was supposed to at the Royal Rumble.
True. Okay. Yeah, I could see where you're going with that.
And not to take anything away from Mustafa Ali, because I like the guy, but I think I like Cedric Alexander a little bit more. So maybe I'm just being a little biased.
I mean, I don't have a preference for who wins this. I know 205 Live has been much better than it was, wrestling-wise. I do believe Cedric Alexander's going to win just because he seems like the anointed one in 205 Live. So, that be that as it may, I have him winning it. I think it's going to be a phenomenal match, just like last year's Cruiserweight match was on the pre-show.
Oh, the match is going to rule.
Yeah, because they're going to go for it, Ali's had some really good promos that I think he's been posting them on Twitter all by himself without, the backing or the help of the machine, really. So he's kind of been getting himself over, which is good for him. He's taken the opportunity that he's presented with here. And I've watched a couple of those videos, and they've been really well done by him. So, I'm excited to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, definitely. And I know a lot of people are mad that this is on the pre-show, but there are plenty of other matches on the card that night. To those people that they're mad because they're on the pre-show, but you're going to watch the pre-show regardless. It's not like people are ordering the pay-per-view and you can only watch the pre-show on the USA Network or WWE.com like they did in the past. You're watching the network regardless.
Yep, because I know I'm going to be watching the pre-show.
Yeah. I just hope that they include the kickoff on the Blu-ray /DVD release so that these guys could get some more royalties from it. So that's just my little side note about the pre-show kickoff stuff. Because if you're watching the show, you're going to watch the show.
Yep.
And if you're not going to watch the show on the network, well, then you could only watch the pre-show. So what are you mad about?
Tell us, tweet us what you're mad about.
Literally, the pre-show, there could be potentially more eyes on the pre-show than there are on the actual pay-per-view. It's free. The pre-show is free.
All right, let's ring the bell on that. Let's get into the main card.
So this card is stacked. Stacked
to
the gills.
Top to bottom. There's no filler here. It's going to be a long show, but I think it's going to be entertaining from top to bottom.
Let's start off with the triple threat match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship.
Oh, boy.
As we see Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz.
I just want to say, first off, that I am bummed that Finn is not doing a demon for his first WrestleMania.
Yeah, dude, it's a missed opportunity.
Totally, because they could have written that into it very, very easily, I feel like. I don't know what the reasoning is behind not having him do the demon paint, but that's kind of... Not that he's incapable of drawing without it, obviously. He's a phenomenal performer, and, it's just... most of his merch has the demon on it, and we want to see the demon. So the fact that he's not the demon and he's just smiling Finn Balor, it kind of sucks.
Especially in New Orleans.
Especially in New Orleans, where he could have some crazy body paint for that demon. But I digress from that. He and Seth Rollins continue to have show-stopping matches with one another. And I don't think that's going to let up here.
No, yeah. Following the Elimination Chamber, their match on Raw, then we had Miz defeated by Seth Rollins, and then we had Miz defeated by Finn Balor, and then the match that we just saw this past week on Raw, where Balor and Rollins pulled out all of the stops, and it was an absolute joy to watch.
The best thing about this match is that you could make the case for any single one of them to become the champion.
Hell yeah.
I wish there was a bigger stipulation than just a triple threat, but be that as it may, I'm excited for this match, and I have this feeling that Rollins is going to win. So I have Rollins as the winner.
My only thing with that is Miz is probably the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. He's only 25, give or take some days away from being the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion ever. So I think that The Miz is going to retain. And it's going to lead to a feud with Finn Balor. And then at Backlash, we're going to get Demon Balor versus The Miz after The Miz has become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion ever.
I'm all for that, and I would sign up for it.
I think Rollins is going to go on to try and procure, to steal Matt Hardy's word, the Universal Championship. That's what I think.
Ooh.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yes.
So you have Seth Rollins.
I do.
I have The Miz. And that's not taking away from Demon Finn Balor.
All right, ring the bell. If you're going to talk about the Intercontinental Championship, you have to put up its brother championship, the United States Championship. And on SmackDown, we have a fatal four-way for that United States Championship that sees the champion Randy Orton defending against Bobby Roode, Jinder Mahal, and Rusev.
Yeah, Randy Orton hit his grand slam, and now Bobby Roode, Jinder Mahal, and Rusev are looking to make the steal. There's a baseball reference for you guys.
It was pretty safe. The crowd reaction for Rusev is what got him in this match. Other than, obviously, his in-ring ability, the popularity of Rusev Day has catapulted him into superstardom, and the chants, I believe, are what led him to get into this match.
Yeah, I mean, even this past week on SmackDown, Rusev ate an RKO, and even though Bobby Roode and Randy Orton stood face-to-face in the ring, the crowd was chanting Rusev Day.
Yep.
You can't fake popularity like that. You can't force that because the crowd will turn on you. But Rusev is a guy that they continually try to push as a heel, and the crowd loves him.
Yeah, he needs to embrace the WWE universe.
Like Taurus Rusev?
Catapult. Like Taurus Rusev, yes.
It's a
great callback.
They could still do that.
I think it'd be criminal if he didn't win this match. Orton is still bland. Bobby Roode still needs a heel turn. And Jinder Mahal is, you either enjoy him as a performer or you don't. Rusev is, the crowd is going to be so hot for Rusev anyway, that I feel like if he loses, they are not going to be very happy. There's a lot to be happy about on this card, but if Rusev loses this match, they will not be happy with it.
See, I wish Rusev would win, but unfortunately, I don't think he's going to win. I want that belt off Orton so bad, and unfortunately, I think Jinder Mahal is the only logical choice to take it from him in this match. This way, maybe we can get Bobby Roode turning heel on Randy Orton since he's been playing so nice and so kind to his face, and then they could have their program, and then we could get Rusev versus Jinder and turn Rusev fully face and have him embrace everyone and embrace the WWE universe and then win the title.
Yeah, you have to capitalize on the popularity when it's there. And WWE a lot of times waits too long or hopes that it dies down because it's not in their plans. So I really hope that they hear the crowd and allow it to happen for Rusev.
Yeah. Jumping back over to Monday Night Raw, we are getting the WWE Raw Tag Team Championships on the line as The Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro take on Braun Strowman and a partner of his choosing.
This has been very interesting.
Interesting's a good word.
Interesting doesn't mean that I like it.
I totally agree with that statement. 100%.
Brain Strowman, as we saw this past week on Monday Night Raw, made me face palm. Braun Strowman said, "The only way I'll show you my partner is if you agree to have a match with him." And then he turned around and said, "Let me go get him." And I said out loud to myself, he's going to go put a costume on, isn't he? And sure enough, 2 seconds later, his music hits, and here comes Braun Strowman with a white button-down t-shirt and a pair of glasses on. And it was really funny because 2018 WWE Hall of Famer Bubba Ray Dudley tweeted, is what I think he said, Brain Dudley or Braun Dudley. That was really funny because he kind of looked like the largest Dudley boy ever, which is saying something. I have to imagine that Braun's partner is either going to be no one, and he's just going to compete in the match by himself. But if they do force him to have a partner, this is where I could see Big Cass that you mentioned earlier, or potentially Samoa Joe returning from his injury, or even a returning Bobby Lashley.
Oh, I didn't even think about Lashley. I actually like that a lot. See, because I'm sitting here thinking that it's going to be like the Big Show. And trust me, I am not interested in the Big Show in 2018 as a champion. I'm not interested in the Big Show coming back and working with Strowman again. Let the man retire. He doesn't have that much gas in the tank.
He just signed a 3-year deal. Did you know that?
No.
This isn't breaking. I'm not breaking any news, but obviously you didn't hear about it yet. Big Show signed a new 3-year deal.
Why couldn't we have gotten Hawkins?
I know. Hawkins would have been great. That would have been such a good story. But Vince showed you what he thinks of Hawkins and Strowman as a team when he had Strowman throw him through a wall.
But we go back when we were talking about Survivor Series and about how you were saying put Kurt Hawkins on the Survivor Series team. That was a great idea.
Yep. So do you think his partner is going to be Big Show? Who do you think is? Give me 3 names that you think his partner could be.
Big Show, Mark Henry, Rey Mysterio.
That would be cool if it was Mysterio, even though it doesn't make any damn sense whatsoever.
Well, none of this makes any goddamn sense. Braun winning the Tag Team Battle Royal doesn't make any sense.
All that said, I have Braun Strowman and whoever his mystery partner is winning.
Yeah, me too. Sheamus and Cesaro better get those belts back. That's all I'm saying. Well, it would be cool if Strowman competed by himself because,
as
he's
the tag team champions.
Yeah,
yes,
he's
that would be great.
He's the monster among men, so he should be able to win the title solo. And it would make a little bit more sense than just, I'm going to get Samoa Joe and we're going to be partners. Like, none of that makes sense.
For no reason whatsoever other than Samoa Joe wants to get on the card.
Yeah. So, yeah, we both got Strowman and a partner of his choosing becoming the new tag team champions at WrestleMania.
Ugh.
Ring the bell.
So going from one tag team championship match, obviously we have to touch on the other tag team championship match. For the SmackDown Live tag team champions, we have a triple threat match, which sees the Usos defending against the New Day and the Bludgeon Brothers. Last episode, I had posturized that perhaps the Bludgeon Brothers come out and stake their claim to the tag team championships. And boy, did they ever.
As the Usos and the New Day began to regain some steam, Harper and Rowan waited in the wings until they finally struck, decimating both teams and sending Xavier Woods to the hospital.
I'm so glad I was right about that. Because if they didn't come out, I look like a total moron, right?
The build for the Bludgeon Brothers has paid off.
Totally. And at first, everyone was skeptical. But now you say Bludgeon Brothers, and I hear their theme song in my head. I'm thinking about it right now.
This is also going to be the Usos' first WrestleMania on the main card. And rightfully so.
Yeah, they definitely deserve it.
And we
definitely
talked about that in the last episode about how they deserve to be on the main card, as does the New Day. This match should have been a ladder or a TLC match, but I'll take it. There's still no disqualifications with the triple threat rules.
Yeah, there was a graphic that got circulated that had it as a ladder match, but then it was quickly deleted and disappeared. So there's obviously a chance that it could be a ladder match, which would make it really cool. But either way, whether it's a ladder match or just a straight up triple threat for the tag titles, I have the Bludgeon Brothers winning.
I too have the Bludgeon Brothers more than likely picking up the win here, which is going to be great because to see them take on challengers over the next few months would be so much fun. So I want to see them versus the Authors of Pain.
Yeah.
Beating the hell out of each other.
Oh, man.
I want Authors of Pain on SmackDown, so let's just do it. So keeping with the tag team theme here, let's jump over to the mixed tag team match. We're getting Triple H and Stephanie McMahon versus Kurt Angle and a debuting Rowdy Ronda Rousey.
I think the build for this has been solid. As cringeworthy as the promos are for it, sometimes they're doing enough work to make you care. Angle as a GM is not very good, but he's entertaining.
You could definitely tell when Kurt flips the switch between scripted and non-scripted.
Yeah, I don't know what it... he's not very good at doing the scripted stuff in a way that's so noticeable it kind of is bothersome.
It's almost become a meme at this point.
He's a meme within himself with what he does. And then Rousey's been rushing her promo lines, but she's never done anything like this before. So the people that say that she needs to go away because she can't do it are really unfair, because she's debuting and cutting promos against Stephanie and Triple H, who are the king and queen of not only WWE, but cutting evil promos in a really good way. Stephanie's phenomenal on the microphone. Triple H is phenomenal on the microphone. And then she's teamed up with Kurt, who can't remember his lines and flubs all the words. And she's out there trying to make herself look good too. It's not an easy thing, and people that say that she's not doing a good job are really downplaying the difficulty in it.
Yeah, for sure. Because like you look at the video packages that they've prepared, and they're phenomenal. They're stellar. Especially regarding her and her training. You know, like I can't even begin to praise those video packages enough. And you're 100% right with saying that Triple H and Stephanie are like on their A game constantly, and then yet she's with the company maybe 3 months. She's never had to talk. She's never had to cut promos. But here she's here and she's trying. So I'll give her that.
I'm excited to see her in the ring debut finally. It's gonna be difficult for her because it's Stephanie, and Stephanie's not regarded as the best women's worker, right?
Yeah, we
could agree on that, but I still think it's gonna be a good showing for her. She's gonna get her stuff in, and it's gonna be a good match, because Kurt's gonna deliver, and Triple H never doesn't deliver. So I think overall it's going to be a good match, and I have Kurt and Ronda winning because I don't think that there's any way that they don't have her win her first match.
Yeah, Kurt and Ronda are definitely winning. This is also going to be Stephanie's first match at WrestleMania, which is crazy to me.
That is so wild.
So I'm just worried about Ronda's selling. I mean, did you see her this past Monday on Raw when she went through the table? Because she was selling her stomach, and then she just kind of stared grumpily at Stephanie. It was just kind of laughable. Like I'm sitting there, I was watching, and it took me right out of it. Because I was shocked at what happened, but then when they zoomed in on Ronda's face, and she's just got a pouty face looking up at Stephanie, grabbing her stomach, I was just like, what is going on?
I have to imagine that Kurt and Triple H are going to do most of the work.
Yeah.
And then the women are going to be the hot tag, and Ronda's going to hit her with like 3 clotheslines, one of those judo flips that she does really well.
Yeah.
and then she's going to lock her into some sort of submission. Kurt's going to take out Triple H for making the save, and the match will be over. I don't think it's going to be very long, but I can just see that Ronda's not going to be in the ring as long as we're thinking she's going to be in the ring, because Stephanie is such a limited worker.
Yeah. It'll be a good match for what it is.
Yeah, and Triple H is going to be the one that's going to take a spot from Ronda that's going to make her look like $1 million, because that table spot with her was awesome.
When we first were talking about the rumors of Ronda Rousey coming in, I was not on board with it, but seeing how it's going and how they're handling her and her character, I'm all right with it. So let's see how she does within the match.
And from one tag team match to the other, because every show has a match that lines up with the other one, we have Shane McMahon and a returning medically cleared Daniel Bryan taking on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Dude, Daniel Bryan returning to the ring for the first time in more than 2 years since retiring in 2016 is probably the greatest thing that's happened to WWE in more than 2 years.
He's back, man.
There's no better way to pay this match off than to do this match. So I'm so happy. I'm so thrilled.
I'm glad that they've cleaned up. Because last episode I had mentioned that they had pulled the brakes on the Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon stuff. But obviously Bryan getting cleared, we throw it into fourth gear and we're gunning it now. He's back full time as a performer, and it's gonna be so cool that he gets to return to the Superdome where WrestleMania took place, where he gets to return to in-ring competition.
You couldn't write this any better. It's absolutely incredible that Daniel Bryan is medically cleared just a few short weeks before WrestleMania.
And also somehow Shane is cleared.
Yeah. Which makes me wonder how much action Shane's actually going to see in the match.
Yeah, I'm just so excited that Daniel Bryan's back. I really it's flubbed everything else for WrestleMania for me. I'm like, I don't care. Daniel Bryan's back.
Yeah.
AJ who? Daniel Bryan's back.
Which is incredible. Like I said, this card is stacked, and this match specifically, I'm going to be watching with probably tears in my eyes, grateful for the fact that it's able to take place.
And, we should give equal time to the other side of the match here. I'm so happy that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are not in that battle royal. And then they've been let go from SmackDown Live, quote unquote. So Sami tweeted as El Generico for the first time in 3 or 4 years.
Dude, they had a 12-day sale on Pro Wrestling Tees for El Generico. It's great.
And Kevin Owens changed his name on Twitter back to Steen, and he lost his Twitter verification, which is all just, outside stuff. But it's funny that they went to those lengths to sell the story for WWE, which is cool. And that they are so excited to get to work with Daniel Bryan as the first people to get to work with him again.
Yeah.
What an honor.
Sami Zayn is still the most interesting heel ever.
Yeah.
Especially,
I say it every week. Every time I watch him, I'm just like, this is the weirdest heel of all time, but it's also the most effective.
He's not wrong.
Right. We should also mention that if Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens win, they are reinstated to SmackDown Live. But if they lose, they are not on SmackDown Live any longer.
So that brings up the question, is there going to be a screwy finish? Does Daniel get screwed by Sami and Kevin and Shane?
I think it's possible that Shane's the one that does the turn. For sure.
Because they can't turn
turn Daniel Bryan. You can't. You can't. Like, it's weird. It's so funny to me that certain guys are untouchable in terms of bad guy, good guy, but for some reason they would consider it with Daniel Bryan. Like, why is Roman Reigns and John Cena untouchable, but Daniel Bryan is the purest babyface on the main roster?
Exactly. It would be like turning Stone Cold Steve Austin heel and pairing him up with Vince at WrestleMania X7.
I'm so glad you got that in there. Anyway,
so maybe Daniel Bryan will move to Raw and do something with The Miz.
Oh God, please. Now. I want it right now. I want it right now. Now. It's happening now.
Obviously, I feel like Daniel Bryan needs to win this match.
Yeah, definitely. I have he and Shane winning as well.
That building is going to go insane and lose their minds if Daniel Bryan does not win.
I agree, man. I totally agree.
Speaking of someone who is retired or was retired, let's touch on the possibility of one final match between John Cena and The Undertaker. Now, we don't have...
Well, right out of the gate, do you think it's happening?
I think something's happening because they wouldn't tease you with months worth of stuff only to just not do anything with it. You know?
Yeah.
We haven't been given anything for this match. It's weird, but as long as we get something, it'll be fine. Just give me 8 to 10 minutes. Because if you someone said if they were to announce an official match, everyone would expect John Cena and The Undertaker to go 20 minutes and close the show maybe. But if you give people just enough, thinking, oh, well, maybe there'll at least be a segment, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, Cena's promos have been... I mean, I know we say that he's not a heel, but calling out a guy who retired and saying that it's his ego that's keeping him retired, he had a hip replacement. It's kind of the jerkiest thing to ever do. So in essence, he's been giving us at least, I think it's been 3 weeks of heel promos, trying to goad The Undertaker into a match at WrestleMania. I just don't know how they do it. Because as soon as John Cena gets in the ring at WrestleMania, you know it's happening. You know what I mean? There's no organic way for it to take place. Unless during the inevitable 20-minute Kid Rock performance...
No!
He begins to play American Badass, and Undertaker rolls to the ring on the motorcycle to much fanfare and a bit of confusion on the crowd's behalf.
I'd be confused.
And then John Cena hops the rail, given he's, a fan watching it from the stands.
If that happens.
There's really no way to make it make sense now that it's not announced, is what I'm saying.
It's going to happen.
Because as soon as John Cena hits the ring, you know that The Undertaker's coming out, right? At WrestleMania, I should say. Because the last 3 weeks on Raw, we've been assuming that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But it didn't. So.
Anyway, if they do have a match, who you got?
Undertaker.
I've got John Cena.
No, I don't think that's possible.
I think at this point, anything.
I don't think that's possible. There's no way.
It's WrestleMania.
There's no way.
Anything's possible.
There is no way that The Undertaker doesn't respond for 3 weeks on Raw, shows up unannounced, quote unquote, at WrestleMania to lose to John Cena in an 8-minute match, Jordan. That's absurd, and you know it.
It's John Cena, brother. Brother.
Yeah, but The Undertaker is Vince McMahon's greatest creation of all time. That's why he can't sit in the crowd at the Hall of Fame.
Oh, but I thought it was going to be American Badass Undertaker.
It is.
It's not. Get that idea out of your head. It's not.
I'm not
It's
the only
stupid.
one that thinks so.
It's stupid.
It's not. I'm not the only one that thinks that's what's going to happen.
Nobody wants to see American Badass Undertaker. They want to see the Undertaker, the dead man, the lights, the gimmick, the 30-minute entrance.
I don't want a 30-minute entrance. I don't want to see the Undertaker at all.
I don't want to see Kid Rock at all.
Saying that forever.
But apparently everyone wants to see Kid Rock play the Undertaker to the ring.
I don't want to see that at all. I'm saying the stars are aligned here.
Maybe we'll get John Cena versus Michelle McCool.
Oh, man, that would be great. And then Nikki Bella versus The Undertaker?
Mixed tag team match. Another one. Playa. Teddy Long comes out. He announces it.
Now, hold on a minute, playa. You know what's the Mac Militant coming to get it on.
But yeah, so John Cena, The Undertaker, will it happen? I don't know. Tune into WrestleMania to find out. Ring the bell. Moving on.
Well, ring the unofficial bell. So from one thing that we don't necessarily like to another, we have the Raw Women's Championship match featuring Alexa Bliss defending against Nia Jax.
Now, first of all, how cool is it that these two best friends get a singles match for the championship at WrestleMania?
Sure.
That being said, the build to this feud has been absolutely atrocious.
Horrible, even.
Such poor taste.
WrestleMania always has one really fast match. And my anticipation is this is the one. Alexa has gone full mean girl, and she's great at it. But it's really... I'm not sure I enjoy emotional crying Nia Jax.
No, I don't think a lot of people enjoy emotional crying Nia Jax.
I think it's a detriment to her character. So I have Nia Jax in a squash win.
Okay. I have Nia Jax winning as well. However, I feel like it's going to be because of a disqualification. Therefore, Bliss is going to retain the title.
Okay.
I could also see Nia squashes her after the match, and Carmella runs out and cashes in.
I was going to say this, in my opinion, is the most likely place for a Carmella cash-in if it were to happen at WrestleMania.
For sure. So going from completely uninteresting and boring to probably one of the match of the nights, night and day with these. So we have the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship match between Charlotte Flair and Asuka. On the grandest stage of them all, the undefeated Empress of Tomorrow will attempt to seize the crown from the Queen herself in what has potential to be the greatest women's match in WrestleMania history. Who you got and why?
Well, Asuka chose Charlotte after winning the Royal Rumble, which I think is a great decision. Going back to what you said before, I do agree that this is a match of the night contender for sure. I think the build has been a little spotty, but I do believe it's good. I do not believe Carmella is cashing in here. I don't think that they want to sully this match that they've been building up with something like that. I can't wait for the chain wrestling and the submission styles for both of them, reversing and going into other things. All of that said, I have Asuka continuing her streak at WrestleMania against Charlotte and winning the SmackDown Live Women's Championship.
I'm going to have to agree with you. Charlotte for sure has been on a red hot streak during her reign as champion, knocking off every opponent put in front of her, including Ruby Riott and Natalya. However, no streak is as red hot as Asuka's. Asuka knows that she's confident and she's going into this match This is her first WrestleMania. She's the winner of the 2018 Women's Royal Rumble match, the first ever. She deserves this moment.
She was the women's sole survivor. She won the Royal Rumble, and I think that she should stand tall at WrestleMania with the title. Nobody's ready for Asuka. So, going from the SmackDown Live Women's Championship to the main championship on SmackDown Live, the WWE Championship, we have AJ Styles defending against the 2018 Men's Royal Rumble winner, Shinsuke Nakamura. Who you got?
This was tough for me. Nakamura entered the Royal Rumble at number 14 and ultimately eliminated Roman Reigns to earn his world title opportunity at the Showcase of the Immortals. Immediately chose to go after the WWE champion AJ Styles. I mean, the storied history between these two, the unmatched talent, and the explosive nature of both the Phenomenal One and the King of Strong Style guarantees a tremendous contest. The constant one-upsmanship between the two has been fun. Nakamura constantly reinforcing to AJ Styles, I'm going to beat you at WrestleMania with a knee to the face. I feel like that's not going to be good enough, and AJ Styles is going to win here.
I agree that AJ Styles is going to win here. I cannot wait for this match to happen. I think it's an obvious match of the night contender. They've only faced each other one time before in Japan. So I'm hoping they at least get a half hour with their entrances, so they really have some time to build a quality match. And I think Shinsuke's kind of played his hand here. He tells AJ constantly that he's going to beat him with a knee to his face. So what if Shinsuke goes for the Kinshasa, but AJ rolls it into a calf crusher?
Perfect. There's so much that these two can do if given enough time. Do you think AJ Styles' injury is going to play any role here?
No. I think AJ Styles, to quote Kurt Angle, would defend this title with a broken freaking neck. But I have AJ. This is the match I'm most anticipating, other than the Charlotte Asuka match. I'm most anticipating these two matches. So yeah, I got AJ, and I'm excited and I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I have AJ as well. Should be good. But I'm fine with it either way. And moving on to the main event of the evening that everyone knew was coming. The Universal Championship match, as we see Brock Lesnar, the Beast, defend his championship against the big dog, Roman Reigns. It's the second singles match between the two at WrestleMania. And it was set up after Roman Reigns won the first ever 7-man Elimination Chamber match. It's literally been in the making since WrestleMania 31.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the main event at WrestleMania 31. It's almost like we forget that it happened. But this particular match has had, miraculously, one of the best builds to a match at WrestleMania. I really hope that they clobber each other for 10 to 15 minutes. And I cannot wait to have the main title back on Raw every single week when Roman Reigns kicks out of an F5 for the first time in a year and puts Brock Lesnar down so Lesnar could go back to the Octagon.
I mean, these two have competed against each other in multi-man matches since WrestleMania 31, but they've never squared off one-on-one since. And on this past week's episode of Monday Night Raw, Roman Reigns hit 5 Superman punches. 5. How many are we going to get at WrestleMania?
Well, what's the over-under?
4 is like the least amount that he's going to perform. You're going to see at least 4.
Wow.
How many Superman punches do you, the listener, think that we're going to get at WrestleMania? Let us know. But meanwhile, Brock hasn't suffered a loss since 2016. So Heyman stated that if Reigns wins, Brock and Heyman are gone. They're leaving WWE. Boy, there's lots of potential here for banishment this weekend.
There really is. It's like the weekend of ultimatums.
Yeah. However, like you said before, Reigns is going to kick out of an F5 and look super strong. He's going to pin Lesnar, and he's going to hold that belt up as the show closes. What time? 11:17?
11:17. The fireworks are going to go off. The big dog's going to hold his title in both of his hands, and he's going to be standing on the ring apron, or he's going to be standing on the turnbuckle holding that, and the fireworks are going to go off around the Superdome, and everyone's going to be happy.
The confetti's going to be falling.
11:17. You heard it here.
So I think that pretty much wraps it up.
That does wrap it up, man. WrestleMania.
I mean, do you think it's going to be better or worse than last year?
It's no doubt going to be better than last year.
I mean, I'm really excited for everything we're getting, including the Reigns-Lesnar match.
Yeah.
Because we knew it was happening. I've mentally prepared myself for it to happen.
Yeah, I just want other people to have an opportunity at that title finally.
Yeah.
So if that means Roman Reigns is the one that has to bring it to Raw, that's fine. So that's that. That's our WrestleMania 34 episode of Royally Rumbled, episode 10. Hopefully you're already following us on Twitter. That's probably how you're listening to this in the first place. But our Twitter handle is @RoyallyRumbled, and you can follow us there. We live tweet every Raw and SmackDown every week leading up to the pay-per-views to try to build a story of our own here with what we're talking about. If you like what we have to say, you could follow us individually. I am on Twitter and Instagram @YesBall.
And I am on Twitter and Instagram @ALXSHPRD.
And that's that, man. We're excited to share WrestleMania with you. I hope it's a good show. I don't think there's a possibility that it's not.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening. Enjoy WrestleMania. Enjoy NXT TakeOver. Just enjoy wrestling, man.
It's such a great time for wrestling. Enjoy it.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Robert.
Thanks for listening, guys.